On this week's episode of A Drier Dose of Disney, Jared shares with us his opinion of the top 10 animated Disney movies.
Welcome to this week's episode of A Drier Dose of Disney. I'm your host, Jared Dreyer. And as we wrap up this latest season, we've got a couple extra episodes we wanted to send your way. So we've got 3 new episodes in this series that we're going to be discussing, starting with the first one today. And we are going to be doing something that I've thought about doing for a while, but just really haven't put the time or effort into and decided recently, why don't we go ahead and do it? And we're going to go through over the next 3 weeks our top 10 Disney films, animation, and Universal films. Since these correlate so well at the parks and they highlight so many of the aspects of the parks, we figured why not share our favorite ones with you and talk to you about why these movies may be our favorite ones. Now, the reason we haven't done this yet is this is highly subjective, of course. Everyone's going to have their own opinions, and we know that everybody will probably not agree with how we rank the Disney and Universal movies. But at the same time, there are a lot of great elements in these movies that we wanted to share with you. And if you haven't seen them yet, maybe you're going to take some time and open this up to your family and share these movies with them as well. And you may also be interested to see how your top 10 movies rank against our top 10 movies. So as we go through these, of course, like David Letterman style, we're going to count them down from 10 to 1 and have a lot of fun with it. But before we get started with today's episode talking about the top animated films, I do want to ask, wherever you're watching or listening to us, find that pause button and click subscribe and get those notifications turned on as well. So that way, each and every time we release a new episode, you can get that delivered right into your inbox and you can know exactly what's going on at the parks and get all the cool updates of all the new features that are coming. Second, we have a lot of great links down in our podcast description below, including the condo that we rent out so you can stay where we stay down there in Orlando if you ever go, as well as we've got a way to support the show through Patreon. And we've got some of our partners out there that are great partners that we really encourage you guys to use that are going to help you save time and money also at the park. So definitely go check those out for a quick minute and see if there's something that piques your interest down there. So with that, like I said, today we're going to be talking about the top 10 Disney animated films, and we're going to go in order from 10 to 1. I am going to say this episode will be controversial because I already know that I purposely, and I did on purpose, omit one that I would say 90% of people have in their top 10 list. And so I definitely expect to get a lot of hate on that one. And the fact that I eliminated it, and we'll actually start off with that here in just a minute or so, and I will tell you what that one is. But before we get into it and start going through our list, I do want to say what we wanted to do is do both Disney and Pixar. And the reason is those two go hand in hand. And a lot of the Pixar movies obviously are purchased and distributed by Disney, and they have the same characters obviously in their parks. They use a lot of these same themes. So these are not true to just the Disney core. This is going to be Disney and Pixar films because there's some great combinations when you get those two lists working together. So a lot of really great films on this list. And because it is subjective, I will go on to say through all the years, so you're talking almost 100 years of Disney magic, Disney has done a great job with tons of different animated films. And I personally think that most, I won't say all because there are some that I really do dislike, but I do think that most are really great films. If your favorite films didn't make this list on the animated one, I apologize. They're probably still great, but these are the ones that we have ranked in the top 10. We're going to go through that. Now, next week, we're going to go into the top 10 Disney actual live action films, and we're going to talk through those. And then the following week, we're going to do Universal and their top 10 films in our opinion. And that one's an even larger catalog due to the number of movies Universal has produced over the years. So that was a really difficult list to do, but we'll talk about that more on that episode. So without any further ado, let's dive into it. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to start with the one I omitted. And I'm going to ask, if this frustrates you, if this makes you mad, please do not turn off the episode. You're going to understand as we go through the list why it was omitted and why we like some of these other ones better. So the one that didn't make the list that's probably going to upset a lot of people because it's on probably 90% of people's top 10 list is unfortunately The Lion King. And we absolutely love The Lion King. It's a great movie. It's got some great music in it as well. And we think it's a fantastic film. But in our opinion, there were other movies that had both elements of nostalgia as well as some really cool songs or some really cool imagery in them that we thought outranked The Lion King. In fact, if you go through all the Disney classic animated movies, you have this period that they called the Renaissance. And the Renaissance is when Little Mermaid, Lion King, Aladdin, and Beauty and the Beast came out. And they got back to their roots and were doing a really cool thing at that point in time. And we think those movies are all fantastic. They're groundbreaking and they're all really good. But I will also say none of those made our list. So none of the Renaissance films are on this list. Let's start, though, with number 10 of what is on the list. And starting at number 10 is one of the Disney classics. This one was made a long time ago. This is the Robin Hood with the foxes and the fox version of Robin Hood and Maid Marian. And if you haven't seen this movie, it is a great Disney classic. And what is so funny about Robin Hood when you compare it to some of the other animated films of its time, like Jungle Book, is the artists use a lot of the same cells, meaning they would use a lot of the same action between them. So in some scenes where you see in Jungle Book Baloo dancing, it is the same dance that Little John is doing with some of the characters. So I encourage you, go look that up. Those are great, but you have some great classic folk music in this movie, as well as some really great characters that they put together. And this cartoon has action, it's got adventure, it's got it all. And I can remember as a kid watching this one all the time, which is why it's so nostalgic to me and why I like it so much. So Robin Hood is number 10 on my list. Number 9, right above it, is another Disney classic. And this one may crack your top 5 or maybe even your top 3, depending on who you are, where probably Robin Hood may not have. But this one is Peter Pan. And it is one of the greatest rides at Magic Kingdom and Disneyland is Peter Pan's Flight. And we absolutely love that ride. It does really a great job of personifying that movie in real life, and we love that. But it had some great characters, obviously, like Tinkerbell, who was used in mainstream Disney lore all the way through, whether it was the Wonderful World at Disney in the 80s and 90s TV show where she starts off the broadcast by waving her wand in front of the castle, or you're at Magic Kingdom and you see the fireworks and have Tinkerbell flying up there. She has definitely become a staple in the Disney tradition, which is why this film made the list. It has some obviously great music, like Second Star to the Right, and you've got some great characters in it, and they've really built off of this intellectual property. And unfortunately, it wasn't even Disney who made the movie Hook, but you've got a lot of other movies that have been spawned off of the Peter Pan story, which we know was a book before the movie was made, but Disney really got this mainstreamed. So we absolutely love Peter Pan, and that is our number 9 movie on our top 10. Going to number 8, we're going to jump forward in time to a more recent movie, and this is one of our favorites, and it is Tangled. And if you've seen Tangled, obviously you know the story of Rapunzel stuck in her tower. And the reason this one made the top 10 list is it has some fantastic music in it, like At Last I See the Light, where she's singing about all the floating lanterns, and it's got some great imagery. Mandy Moore does a great job in this movie voicing Rapunzel, and the characters are just really dynamic with some different stories. So like Flynn Rider being a anti-hero in this story and wanting to steal from Rapunzel in the tower early on in the movie and then befriending her and helping, where a lot of the other heroes in the other animated movies, they are heroes all the way through. You don't have a lot of anti-heroes. So that's part of the reason this one made the top 10 list. But they did a really great job with just the colors and the imagery in this movie and the music as well. So Tangled is number 8 on our list. Number 7 on our list may surprise some of you. This is probably one that would crack the top 3 for most people. And we absolutely love this movie as well, but I'll tell you why some of the other ones did better than this in just a little bit. But number 7 isn't because it's not a great movie. It's just because there are 6 that we think are better than this. And that is Frozen. Frozen really broke the mold by getting a story with 2 princesses going, obviously Anna and Elsa. And that one as well had some fantastic music in it with Idina Menzel singing Let It Go. And that became really iconic in its age. And it's just a beautiful, gorgeous movie. And they have a great ride for it over at Epcot as well as out at Disney Tokyo. Frozen is a fantastic movie with great characters. We love Olaf. He is so funny and so cute. And he adds that really great comic element to the movie. You've got, like I said, 2 very strong, heroic princesses in this movie. And in fact, Elsa is a queen. So I apologize that I didn't call her a queen to begin with. But when you look at Disney princesses, to have a movie with two of them is very unique. And we think Frozen is an absolutely fantastic movie. And it is number 7 on our list. Number 6, we're going to go back in time. We're going to go back to a really old movie. And this one is the icon of Disney, in my opinion. This is the epitome of Disney, and that is Pinocchio. If you have not seen Pinocchio, I encourage you to go watch that movie. It is a classic. It's not very long, but in this movie, obviously, you have the adventure of Pinocchio with Jiminy Cricket and Geppetto, and how he wants to be a real boy, and the Blue Fairy makes the puppet into a live animated type of boy. And then at the end of the movie, of course, he becomes a real boy from the Blue Fairy. But you have Jiminy Cricket singing When You Wish Upon a Star, which to me is the iconic Disney song. There is no Disney song more iconic than When You Wish Upon a Star. And it is a fantastic song. And that by itself is why this made our top 10 list and landed at number 6, is because it is so good. Now, of course, it is a more classic movie. And because of that, it didn't have a lot of song competition to go up against to become this iconic Disney song. But I'll even say to this day, I don't think there's a song more deserving of Disney than When You Wish Upon a Star. So absolutely love that song and love this movie. It's fantastic. And there have been some live action renditions done after the fact. You have the Tom Hanks live action version that came out a couple years ago. I absolutely love that one. That one's really good, as well as some other non-Disney versions out there as well. So I encourage you, go check those out if you haven't seen them. They're all just a great time and a lot of fun to watch. Number 5 on our list actually is a more interesting one. This is a Pixar film, and this is Inside Out. And I know for a lot of people, this one may also crack your top 3. Inside Out, we think, is absolutely fantastic. And what really made Inside Out jump out at us and crack into the top 10 list here is the fact that it deals with some real life emotion and real life feelings, while at the same time making it appropriate to talk about them. Funny at some points, obviously, when anger bursts in flames and gets mad, and you see the parents' emotions and who's in control of their emotional board. There's a lot of elements to this movie, but it's a very real movie about real feelings. And because of that is why it made our top 10 list. So this, to me, is a very sentimental movie. It obviously talks about Riley and how Riley is growing up and how she is struggling in her new city. And there's a lot of elements to Inside Out that make this a top 10 movie for us. So we absolutely love Inside Out. It is at number 5. Again, some of the ones that are in our top 4, you may think would be lower on your list, and that's totally okay. Like I said, for this one and Frozen, those will probably crack a lot of people's top 3, but Inside Out is number 5 for us. Let's go on to number 4. And number 4, I absolutely love, and it's because I love superheroes, and that is The Incredibles. I think The Incredibles is a fantastic movie. It's a great movie about family and family dynamics, but it's also about superheroes. And they did a really great job of putting action together with family values and with comedy at the same time. And I think The Incredibles is a fantastic movie. Now, the one drawback, I do have one beef with The Incredibles movie that I don't like, and it's because it is so closely tied to the Fantastic Four. If you're not familiar with Marvel's Fantastic Four, there's a new movie that just came out this year. You can go check that out. But obviously you have Mr. Incredible is the equivalent of the Thing, which is the big rock guy, the big strong guy in the Fantastic Four. You have Mrs. Incredible is Elastigirl, which is the same as Mr. Fantastic in the Fantastic Four. He can stretch. You have Violet, who can go invisible and create a force field, and that's the same as the Invisible Woman. And then the one that departs just a little bit is Flash. Their son is really fast, and that's similar to Johnny Storm, who is the Human Torch, obviously he can be fast while on fire, but he flies and turns into a fireball. That one's a little bit of a departure. Now, in the new Fantastic Four movie that Disney just released this year, you have a new baby in that saga as well, which is also part of the Marvel lore. So if you go into Marvel and research Fantastic Four, the Invisible Woman does have a baby, which now is Jack in The Incredibles, who has a lot more powers than the others combined. It definitely follows the Fantastic Four very closely, which I understand it's not a totally original story. They did a great job with it by changing up some of the characters and some of the atmosphere there. But at the same time, I would have liked to have seen them do something a little bit different with it. But Still a fantastic movie. I absolutely love it. It is number 4 on our list just because it is fun. It's full of superheroes, and I absolutely love that. So I'll say for me, that's a personal thing. It's subjective, again, which is why that one made number 4. When we get to our top 3, these top 3 were really difficult to rank. And I will say, when I was playing with this list, I was flipping some of these around quite a bit. So the numbers 10 through 4 weren't too difficult. Those fell into order pretty quickly. But these top 3, I moved them around a lot. So I will say that as you listen to the next 3, if they're in your top 3, then fantastic. I'm so glad that we're on the same page here. But the order may be switched around just a little bit. But our number 3 movie is Moana. And this is a recent movie, obviously, that has Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson playing Maui. He's so funny. He provides great comic relief along with Hey Hey and some of the other animals that are on the boat with him. But what we loved about Moana was the music. This is some of the best Disney music ever, hands down, across the board. If you've listened to Disney music your whole life, I will tell you not much of it compares to Moana. Moana's got some of the best Disney music I've ever heard. So some of the most memorable songs are in Moana, and it just has some great storytelling to that element. And we absolutely love Moana. And then obviously it is visually very appealing as well, which is some of the factors in some of these top movies. And we'll talk about that more in just a moment here. So Moana is in our top 3 spaces at number 3. Absolutely love that one. And let's talk about why number 2 beat it out. So number 2 is in a lot of people's book, probably their number 1 movie, and that is Toy Story. And in fact, a lot of people are going to say Toy Story 3 is better than Toy Story 1, or they like Toy Story 2. We're just saying the Toy Story saga, just because they're all so closely related. Those get in there, but if we're going to rank one of the Toy Story movies as the top one, it's going to be number 1. It's going to be the original where Buzz gets introduced to the gang, and there's that whole competition between Buzz and Woody, and which one's the favorite. And we absolutely love Toy Story. When Pixar came out with Toy Story, they really did a fantastic job getting new content onto the screen, being really creative with it, casting it very well. Obviously, you have Tim Allen and you have Tom Hanks, as well as some other very memorable people, including like Jim Varney, who plays Slinky Dog. He's one of my favorites. He played Ernest in all the Ernest movies and TV shows back in the day. But Toy Story is just a fantastic movie, and it has tons of heart. How these toys care for Andy and how Andy feels when he loses his toys. And we can go back to it being a child and how we felt at that point in time. So that movie has a ton of heart, a ton of great characters, and Toy Story is in our number 2 slot, which takes us now to our number 1 slot. And this movie, it was very difficult to decide which one was number 1. But as we were talking about it and we were talking about music, because obviously we talked about music with Moana, we talked about some of the visuals, and we talked about heart on Toy Story and some of the others. This movie had all of that, and it had it in spades, and it did it really well. So our number 1 animated Disney movie, and if you haven't seen it, I'm going to tell you, run out and go get it right now and go see it. It'll be on Disney Plus. That is Coco. Coco is such a fantastic movie with some great music. Obviously, you have Remember Me, which is a great song, but it's visually appealing. So when Coco crosses over the bridge and goes into the world with the Day of the Dead, you get to see some amazing visuals in that movie. It looks spectacular. The colors, the depth that they built into this movie is incredible. But what really got me about Coco was the heart. And you've got Coco who wants to play music. His family doesn't want him to play music because there is the legend within his family that music tore the family apart. And he learns about his family. He learns about his heritage, which is amazing. I love it. As he goes through the movie, you have his grandma Coco, is obviously the namesake of the movie, that he then sings to at the end to remind her of her father, because her father, through the traditions of the Day of the Dead, is being forgotten and he's going to disappear. And he reminds her and she remembers. And then they add him to the ofrenda, to the place where they remember their family. And it is such an amazing movie. And it's got so much heart when the young boy is singing to Coco at the end, Remember Me, and they're reminiscing about her father. It is such an amazing part of the movie. We absolutely loved Coco. It had a ton of heart, great music, great visuals. And that is why it is our number 1 Disney animated movie currently right now. So that is our top 10 list. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have any comments, you can find us on Facebook. You can give us your top 10 list on our page, or you can follow us on Facebook and send us a message and let us know your top ones. And we're happy to share those on some future episodes as well. If we get a lot of feedback, we will share that with you guys as well. But we look forward to talking to you next time as we talk about our top 10 Disney feature-length movies, which is going to be a great topic as well. And we've got some surprises for you on that one next time as well. So we hope you have a magical week as you're planning your next vacation, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.